Okay, so I just thought I'd show you how to import this JPEG file that you have, and also you have a PDF version of this which may be higher quality, and I'll just see in the folder if you do have the PDF. I think it's actually in this WinZip folder, so let's just have a look here. And oh no, it's not there. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look and see, sorry, if I do have the PDF version of this, because originally it was a PDF file, I'm fairly sure. Ah, maybe not, maybe it was a JPEG. Sorry, I just thought for some reason that there was a PDF version of that file floating around. So yeah, I thought I'd just look for that, because if you have got a PDF, it's going to be better quality. But I don't seem to have one, so it must be just a JPEG. And so, anyhow, the process is the same. To scale it in AutoCAD, it's going to make a new file using AutoCAD ISO, and then I'm simply going to go to Insert and then Attach, and then check on the file type that it has all image files, so that you can then choose the plan drawing. So it's just the one called plan, the JPEG file, not plan X. So I'll import that, and to bring it in at its actual size, I'm going to turn scale off, and I'll also turn insertion point off. We'll specify on screen anyway, I'll turn off for both of those options, so that it comes in at the origin without any scaling. I'll click OK, and then I'm going to double click with the wheel, which will do a zoom extents. In other words, we'll zoom in to fit that into the window. And so now, to give you a good idea how big it actually is, I'm just going to use the measure tool. Back on the home tab, measure, and then I'll click on 2 points to measure along that existing dimension. So we can see there it's 0.0123. So I'll go and find another measurement. Okay, so here 1700, and again I'll measure that, and you can see it's 0.032. Alright, so those are obviously much smaller sizes than it should be, and you can continue to work with those sizes, but just to make it a bit easier to work with, I'm going to use the scale tool, and I'm just going to select the border there, enter, and it'll ask for a base point. So I'm just going to type 0,0 and then enter, and then for my scale factor I'm going to type 1000. So this isn't scaling it to its actual size, this is just scaling it so that it's much bigger than it was before. And so now when I go to measure something again, measuring along that same dimension, it'll give me measurements that are 1000 times what they were previously. So again, just go roughly to here, and so you can see there it's telling me the size is 120 across roughly. Now that's still really small, but it's a lot bigger than it was before, and those numbers are just easier to work with than lots of decimal numbers. So that's just a tip I can give you to make it easier to work with. And then I'm going to use the scale tool again. Again, select my object, enter, and again 0,0 for the base point, enter, and then here's the real secret to it all. The scale factor is going to be the size I want it to be. 6700 is the dimension that I measured. the number that you can see here, / the size it is, which is 120. So that's the number that I measured when I measured my distance. Enter, and now scale it up again. It won't let me zoom out anymore, so I'm going to double click with the wheel, and then again use measure, and measure between those two dimension lines, and you can see there it's basically 6700. Yeah, so that's really the most important thing, that you scale it to its actual size. So just like everything else in AutoCAD, it's now 1:1. Which that was the distance I measured. So when I used that measure tool, that was the length that it gave me. And so now, if you look in properties, you can see how much it's scaled it. So it's scaled it by this amount, and if you want to scale it in other programs, you can actually use that number to scale it in the same way. But you don't even have to do that. You can simply print it from AutoCAD using one of these preset scales. So I could try, for example, 1:100 on an A3 sheet. We better choose a printer. Okay, so I can choose A3 from there, landscape, preview that, and it's not centered, so I better turn that on, center the plot, preview that, and so that would be, if I printed it on an A3 sheet, 1:100, even though it's not all fitting, the part that does fit would be at that size. And just to test that out, I'll hit apply to layout to save the settings, and then OK to send it through to the printer. And when it prints out, we can get a scale ruler and measure to see if it's now printing out to scale.